everyone, and or should I say, ahoy, landlubbers! It's great to see you here today. I'm Nikki Gamble from Just Imagine, and today's Authors Live event is with Justin Somper, who is the Pirate King. Of course, today is Talk Like a Pirate Day. Well, I'm not going to wear my hat for the whole of this event because, frankly, it doesn't go with my glasses, but there we are. I'd love to welcome everybody today. We have schools from all over Europe joining us, a fantastic number of schools. A big hello to everyone. I think we have a school in Sweden, so excuse me, 3 cheers for being the furthest distance today. We're also pleased to welcome schools from England, Wales, and Ireland, so thank you for joining us. You all have good credentials for joining our Talk Like a Pirate event. I know all of those countries have famous pirates or pirate legends. In Wales, there's a famous pirate called Bartholomew Roberts, and I'm sure Justin will tell you that he has even named a character in his Vampirate series after that pirate. He was famous for capturing the most vessels. In Ireland, Gráinne O'Malley from the west of Ireland is known as the Pirate Queen. From England, we have Sir Francis Drake, who was knighted by Queen Elizabeth I. He hasn't always been recognised as a pirate in the history books. It's interesting how history gets recorded, isn't it? And I'm sure your teachers will have quite a lot of insights into that. And in Sweden, Christina Anna Skett and Gustav Drake, I hope I pronounced that well, Sweden, famously captured and sunk a Dutch merchant ship. There will be time for questions in today's event, so teachers, do get your fingers on your keyboards and find that chat. And thank you to those of you who sent your questions in advance. Those are the questions that we will be answering first, and if there's time, we'll go to questions in the chat. I know Justin would love you to be involved today, so again, teachers, if you're asked any questions, please feel free to put your responses in the chat. But now, what I'd like to do, what you've really been waiting for, is to welcome the Pirate King himself, and that's Justin Somper. Hi, Justin. There you
Ahoy,
are.
Captain. Ahoy.
Ahoy,
And
indeed.
avast ye scurvy.
It's Talk Like a Pirate Day. So, do you have a favourite thing to say on Talk Like a Pirate Day?
Yes, I do. Firstly, all hands on deck, because I think, that's the spirit this event will embrace. But also, pay attention or I'll crush ye barnacles.
Oh, very nice.
No one wants to.
I'm quite partial to a bilge rat.
That's
So
good. I like that.
yeah, they live in the bilge, the bottom of the ship that's got all the ballast in, and it's got stinky water, and the rats live down there. I understand that from time to time pirates would eat them when they were running short of food. Have you got a favourite
Tasty.
pirate joke for us, Justin?
I have, yes. What do you call a pirate with 2 eyes, 2 arms, and 2 legs?
He should only have one leg. I don't know. Go and tell me.
A beginner.
A beginner. That's really good. Okay. What is a pirate's favourite movie?
Well, I'm not going to the obvious one. No, actually, you've stumped me.
Anyone that is R rated.
Very good. Very good. I've got a bonus one. Why do pirates carry swords?
What? Say that again?
Why? Why do pirates carry swords?
I bet our audience know the answer to these, but I don't. You're going to have to tell me.
Because swords can't walk on their own.
Oh, that's a Christmas cracker joke, that one.
They're mostly Christmas cracker jokes. Sort of like a pirate day.
Yeah, so I'm going to hand over to you. tell us about these fabulous books that you can now see, the Pirate Academy books, and lead us in our event. So over to you, Justin.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here. Thank you so much for joining this swashbuckling Talk Like a Pirate Day event. I am told we have something like 4,500 young pirates on board today, which is quite a crew. So I want to say welcome to each and every one of you, our young pirate apprentices, and of course, to your very impressive pirate captains too. Thank you for bringing these guys along. Now, talking of captains, I am the author of quite a few books about pirates, but more importantly, I am a captain. And like any decent captain, I have a set of articles or rules which I need my crew to sign up to. And I'm hoping that you're all going to be quite keen to join my crew today. Now, it's simple and we can all do it together. All you need to do is to shout, "I captain," loudly and fiercely as I go through each of my rules or articles. And I'm going to use my sword, which, as you can probably see, is made of premium grade plastic. So we're going to have a practice, and on the count of three, I would like you to give me your loudest, fiercest Talk Like a Pirate Day I captain. So 1, 2, 3.
I captain.
Nice work. You're hired. I think we're going to have one more practice just to check everyone is in good volume. And I would say within each of the crews, within the main crew, try and shout together. It'll make it easier for all of you. So again, on the count of three, a nice loud, fierce, together, I captain. 1, 2, 3.
I captain.
Excellent work. So we're going to go through my 7 articles in turn. And at the end of each of them, I will wave this deadly sword. And that's when I would love your loud, fierce I captain. So here we go. Article number 1, always keep your pistol or cutlass close by and ready for action.
I captain.
Excellent work. Article number 2, no striking one another on board.
I captain.
Article number 3, no crew member trying to pilfer the captain's liquor rations this morning.
I captain.
Sorry. Article number 4, this is a really important one. No crew member to leave the ship whilst we're in motion this morning, except for a genuine lavatorial situation.
I captain.
Good. Always good to sign up to that one. Article number 5, no random firing of the cannon.
I captain.
And number 6, no funny business in the crow's nest.
I captain.
Final article, in general, no roguery, no debauchery, and no foul-mouthery.
I captain.
Beautiful work. You are all signed up to the crew. This is the biggest crew ever. So why not give yourselves a nice round of applause and let's celebrate that. Well done, everybody. Now that we have all signed up to the crew, I want to tell you some stuff about Pirate Academy. Now, if you've read the books, and there are now 3 of them since Sword Echoes came out earlier in the summer, you are going to know a bit of this already, but if you're coming to the books for the first time, it will be news to you. So the first thing to tell you is these books are set about 500 years in the future, in the year 2507. Now, what's happened is ocean levels have risen, causing the shape of the world to change. There's much more ocean, and as a result, there is a new golden age of piracy. The oceans are under the tight control of an organization called the Pirate Federation, and this is a worldwide organization of super talented and famous pirate captains. The Federation also runs 9 pirate academies around the world, and each pirate academy only admits 15 students every year. That's 15. So it's not an easy school to get into. During their 10 years at Pirate Academy, the students will receive expert instruction from the world's most famous pirate captains. And that means at the end of their training, when they're 17 or 18 years old, the students can sail out into the oceans and they will be captains or perhaps deputy captains themselves. They will be the hope of the future. Now, I mentioned that the Pirate Federation has 9 pirate academies all around the world, but the one that's really important in my books is the one in Coral Sea Province, which is in Australia, which happens to be where I currently live and where I am beaming to you from this morning, it being afternoon for me. I'm a few hours ahead of you. So that's the key background. So why don't we go on, and I'm going to introduce you to some of the star students who live and study at Pirate Academy. Now, every year group at Pirate Academy has a maritime nickname. So the first years are called Clam Class, the fourth years are Squid Class, and that goes right up to the final year where we have the Hammerheads. In the Pirate Academy books, we're going to spend most time hanging out with the 11 and 12-year-olds who are in Barracuda class. Now, they're known as the Barracudas and they have a class motto. That motto is, wound one Barracuda and you wound us all. Wound one Barracuda and you wound us all. So something you might like to have a go at later today is to think about what your class name might be and also perhaps your class motto. We'd love to hear any great ideas that you have. All of the kids in Barracuda class come from famous and successful pirate families, and I'm just going to introduce you to 3 of my favourites, starting with Jacoby, who's up here. Now, Jacoby, 11 years old, loves being at Pirate Academy. He is naturally very talented at pirate skills, including sailing and swords. And he's quite a confident young man, perhaps a little too confident, we might decide. The first book opens on Captain's Evening, which is basically the Academy's version of your parents' evenings, because after all of the students' parents are pirate captains. So on Captain's Evening, they sail into the Academy harbour and they go to meet the head captain, Commodore Quo, or the deputy head, Captain Salt, and they find out how their pirate kids are doing. So Jacoby's dad, who's called Captain Beaufort Blunt, sails in on the pirate ship, the North Star. And Jacoby's really excited about Captain's Evening because he loves hearing how well he's doing. And seeing his dad, of course. Unfortunately, things do not go to plan that night. So Jacoby doesn't actually get a great report. It seems that he's been coasting a little bit. And the head captain warns him that if he doesn't step up, he might be thrown out of the academy. That would be an utter disaster for Jacoby because his whole life, all he's wanted to be is a pirate captain like his parents. Now, Jacoby has some really, really good friends at the academy, including his roommate, Wing Moon. But on Captain's Evening, Wing's 2 mums, who are both pirate captains, arrive and take Wing out of the school that very night. They say things have got too dangerous for Wing to stay at school. So this is a terrible shock for Jacoby and, frankly, as you would imagine, quite a shock for Wing himself. So a bit of a double blow for Jacoby on Captain's Evening. He's going to need the help of his friends, including Jasmine. Now, Jasmine Peacock is super smart, she studies hard, and she's well liked by her classmates. And unlike Jacoby, she gets a really good report on Captain's Evening, and Captain Mayday Salt, the deputy head, tells Jasmine that her teachers are full of praise for her. All the same, Captain's Evening proves quite stressful for Jasmine, but in a different way. It's because her parents' ship, the Blue Marlin, fails to arrive in the Academy harbour, and so her parents are declared missing at sea. You can imagine that is really, really tough for Jasmine, and she can't help but think that the worst has happened. Mayday tells her that everything's going to be okay, but what with Wing being removed from the academy as well, it's a really, really worrying time for Jasmine. She's generally pretty cool, pretty calm, but even for her, it's tough to stay calm under these circumstances. So she too is going to need the support of her friends, including her longtime friend Jacoby, but also her roommate Ocean. Yes, Ocean has a very appropriate name for a student at the school. Now, Jasmine and Jacoby and Ocean, they've all known each other for several years since they started out together in clam class, that first class at Pirate Academy. And that's true for all of the Barracudas except for one. Because on this very same night, there's a new student making his way to the Academy Harbour. Now, he's called Neo Splice, but I have to tell you, that is not his real name. It's an alias or a pseudonym. Neo has a really famous pirate mother, but it's going to take a little bit of time before we find out her name. And Neo has come to the Academy to find safety because his ship, Death and the Maiden, was attacked, and very sadly, his mum was killed. He arrives on a very rough and rusty old ship, a type of ship that's called a scavenger. And when Neo arrives, he has to deal with, I guess, a little bit of suspicion from his new classmates because they know each other so well, they want to know everything about him. But he's quite careful about what he shares with them. Some of the Barracudas, including Jacoby and his good mate Cosmo Corsini, decide to test Neo out by playing tricks on him. But it soon becomes clear that this is not the moment for tricks because Neo is in pretty serious danger. He's on the run from a frightening new organization who call themselves the League of True Pirates. Sometimes they're known within the story as Lot P, but they're the League of True Pirates, and they want to take control of the oceans. Now, it looks like agents from the League have followed Neo to Pirate Academy, and that means that the Academy has become a dangerous place, not only for Neo, but for all of the Barracudas and really all of the students at the Academy. I'm going to come back to Lot P in a little while, but I want to tell you a little bit about lessons at Pirate Academy, and I'm going to ask for some of your ideas for lessons at the Academy. So in a minute, which you could pop into the chat facility. But let me tell you about some of the lessons I've come up with first. Now, I guess we've got to say, Pirate Academy is not an ordinary school. The lessons are probably a little bit different to the ones on your school timetable. I would guess so. If not, I'm very keen to hear more from you. I always wanted Pirate Academy to feel like a real school, though, even if it is a slightly specialist one. So when I started work on these books, one of my starting points was to borrow my nephew Matt's school timetable and just have a look at the layout of his week. So English, maybe double history, maths, geography, art, PE, all of those familiar lessons. But what I did was take his timetable and start crossing them out and swapping them over for some pirate alternatives. So I thought hard about which lessons my apprentice pirates might like to learn, but also lessons that were going to be fun for me to write and for you to read, because I want this to be really fun as well as dangerous. So one of the first lessons I came up with was knots class, where the students are taught all kinds of knots, ranging from nautical knots. So, they're going to use a lot of rope, probably be a bit more organized than this messy piece of rope. And they're going to learn nautical knots, but what they're also going to learn are some attack knots that they can use against their enemy. Let's put that down for a moment. Now, knots class is taught by a famous captain called Captain Elizabeth Quivers. She is one of the kindest captains at the Academy. She looks a bit like your gran at first sight, but she is also a fierce pirate warrior. And she's always coming up with new attack knots, like one called Catch of the Day. Now, Catch of the Day is a bit like a rope, a sort of lasso with a fishing net at one end of it. And you throw it at your target. It lands on their shoulders a little bit innocently at first, but then it starts moving down their torso and actually all the way down their legs to their ankles. So pretty soon, your target is trapped in this net. And as if that isn't bad enough, you give a kind of tug, a double tug on the rope, and it becomes much, much tighter. And there's a possibility that you're going to topple your target over. This is catch of the day. You can get out of it, but it's a little bit challenging to get out of. Now, another important class is sailing. And the barracudas often have double sailing in the morning, and they have two teachers, appropriately enough, as it's double sailing. What I'm going to do very quickly, I said I was at a different time of day to you. I'm going to lower my blinds. Bear with. Oh, that's made it even worse. Next one. There we go. It's just like being at sea. I had to lower the mainsail briefly. So appropriate that I was talking to you about a sailing. So we have two captains, Captain Pavel Platonov and Captain Shivaji Singh, who manage sailing. And in the first Pirate Academy book, we see the barracudas sailing out beyond the Academy harbour. And they're in these small vessels called keel boats, where they have about 3 of the students on board at a time. And off they go out into the ocean, and they are going to practice maneuvers like tacking and jibing and moving around in all kinds of weathers. And generally in their lessons, Captain Platonov and Captain Singh will follow the barracudas out. But in the second Pirate Academy book, Missing at Sea, we get to see what happens when the barracudas go out a bit further and on their own. So we have no teaching captains monitoring what's happening to them, and where they're really going to be challenged to see how good those skills are. Now we move on to a really important lesson that kicks off each academy day, because bearing in mind it's a boarding school, so we're not just coming to this school each day, we're waking up there. And what better way to wake up than a nice 5-kilometre run around the academy gardens and the harbour, which is what you've got going on here. Now, if you look at this illustration, we've got Jacoby right at the front, followed by Neo and Jasmine. And then if we go to the other side, to the left-hand side, we've got Cosmo, who I mentioned before, who's a very good friend of Jacoby's. And then next to him, we've got Ocean, Jasmine's roommate. And then we've got Leif Larson, another member of Barracuda class. And actually, Leif is the son of one of the teachers, Captain Larson, at the academy. You can see that Leif is running with a blade leg, and that's because his leg below the knee was eaten by a shark some time ago. So he has prosthetic legs, and when he's doing running or sailing or sword fighting, he uses this blade leg, which he's incredibly proud of. It makes him super fast, and as he says, when he's going into combat, everyone else just has one blade, but he's got 2. So he's always going to do better. Now, talking of combat, this would be your class right at the end of the day, every day, because we've got to make sure that you're really proficient in all kinds of combat. Here we've got a bit of sword fighting going on, and the Barracudas are trained in swords by Captain Victor Molina. And of course, it's really important for the young pirates to master their sword skills. And as Captain Molina is known as one of the best sword fighters in pirate history, who better to teach them? One of the Barracuda's favourite manoeuvres with swords is the flunge, which is basically a flying lunge that they often use at the start of a duel. Here is a fun fact for you. When I came up with the word flunge, well, I thought I had come up with the word flunge, and I was very proud of it. And then my Australian editor was going through the books, and she said, no, flunge is already in the dictionary. Bad luck. You didn't come up with that. So there we are. Disappointing, but I still like it as a word. Now, I'm wondering if we have some nice suggestions of some pirate lessons that you might like to introduce at Pirate Academy.
Mm. Well, I've invited people to put their suggestions in the chat. I did say that knots was the first one that I came up with. So, teachers, do gather some ideas from your pupils and write some suggestions in the chat. What lessons would you come up with if you were designing the timetable at Pirate Academy? I think we just give them a couple of minutes to um, gather some ideas and put them in the chat. By the way, the school in Sweden has just said hello in the chat, so they are definitely there.
Hello. I should say hey, shouldn't I? Isn't it hey hey?
Yes, yeah.
I have very briefly been to Sweden, but I have relatives in Norway. So I've been to Oslo and I've swum in the icy cold Oslo fjord and been to the Viking ship museum there. But I am not kidding. I'm absolutely desperate to come to Sweden and Stockholm and visit the archipelago. So if
Mm,
you know anything about me, and if you check out my website, which we recently relaunched, justinsomper.com, you will see about 1,000 pictures of me by water and on boats, because that is where I absolutely love to be.
mm. I'm not sure what part of Sweden this school is from. I don't know if I read, but I could be wrong, that the school's in Lund, which is right down in the south of Sweden, but I could be wrong. I might have been
Well,
looking at something else. Oh,
it would
here
be
we are.
even it would be
It is
even more
Lund.
exciting. Lund, hello Lund. I've been to Lund. This is even better. Um, with my Vampirates book some years ago, I went over to do some events at a festival in Malmo in Denmark and Lund in Sweden. So I know how beautiful Lund is. So, hey, hey.
Fantastic. Everybody's very quiet today. I don't know if it's because it's the beginning of term. Should we just move on and then we'll see if some ideas pop it up in the chat, Justin?
Absolutely. And if anyone's got any brilliant ideas that they want to share with me after the event, come to the website, teachers, and drop those in. We've
Oh,
had
look,
we've had one idea through from Katie. Hello, Katie,
it does
which is
take
about
time. Here they
helping
come.
helping to save people, which is a good idea. And I like that. Looking after people, absolutely, because, as you'll have gathered, the Barracudas do look out for one another, as their motto says. And then we've got Rebecca suggesting flag design. Well, Rebecca, I think that's a brilliant suggestion. And I would encourage you, given that it is Talk Like a Pirate Day, maybe to come up with a flag design for your pirate ship after this session. Katie is from Katie Aldwin from Manchester. Okay, thank you for telling us that. Do we have any more exciting lesson ideas, or shall we move on at this point?
I would suggest we move on, but people do keep putting things in the chat because we can. Oh, see, another one has popped up. Um, I would say we'll take this one and then move on. But please do keep putting things in the chat.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. So C choir class, lovely, because I do like a shanty. I do like a sea shanty, but actually C choir, which has been suggested by, I think it could be Gina, or Jaina. I don't know, maybe you're one of the Lund contingent. Anyway, it's a lovely suggestion. I have a terrible singing voice, but I suspect you might be a good singer, and I really like that idea. There's a little bit of singing that happens in the Pirate Academy books, but there could be more now you've planted that thought in my head. All right, so yeah, keep the suggestions coming, but I am going to turn back now to the villains of the story, the League of True Pirates. So remember, these are the ruthless group of pirates who followed Neo Splice to the Academy. And they are from this ruthless organization, League of True Pirates, sometimes known as Lot P. And their mission is to take control of the oceans and to take control of the ocean back from the Pirate Federation, who, of course, run the Pirate Academy and so much else. Now, the agents from the League of True Pirates have got unfinished business with Neo, and they have something that he wants. And actually, it's this, basically, which is this bracelet that I wear myself, and I've kind of written it into the story. I want you to imagine that this clasp in the bracelet had a little message in it, or rather some coordinates that Neo's mum planted there before she was taken. So that's what they've come for. And they don't find it in Neo's room, which they ransack. So they leave him a note and they say, "We want to meet you at the Academy Harbour at midnight." Now, they also tell Neo, do not tell any of the teaching captains about this, or things will get very, very bad. So Neo doesn't do that, but he does now tell his new friends within Barracuda class, Jasmine and Jacoby, Cosmo and Ocean, and Shay, who I haven't introduced you to yet, but Shay's another member of Barracuda class. And so Neo tells them what's going on, and they immediately insist on going down to the academy to the Academy Harbour with him. They reckon that with everything they've learned at the academy, they can take on the agents of the League between them. So what I'd love to do now is I'm going to read a short piece from the first Pirate Academy book, New Kid on Deck, and we'll see how the Barracudas get on. I just quickly would love to show you this, what scene the Barracudas are facing, and that is these two characters next to me, who, as you can see, have got masks, and these masks are based on old ships' figureheads. So we can't tell who's behind them. We don't know the gender of these attackers. We don't know if we know them already. So they're quite unpleasant, and as you can see, they've got quite big swords. The 5 plucky Barracudas faced the 2 terrifying agents of the League of True Pirates on the wooden jetty. The curving swords of the enemy glinted in the moonlight. "What kind of a school for pirates is this?" the male agent inquired, "if they don't even equip you with swords?" "Well, we do have swords," Jacoby replied crossly. "We just didn't think we'd need them tonight." "No swords, eh?" the man said, slicing his own weapon back and forth menacingly through the air. "Oops!" He lunged further forward, until the edge of his sword was close to Cosmo. Neo could see his classmate's face reflected in the blade. He knew the agents were ruthless, but would they really go so far as to maim a Barracuda? Well, yes, he figured, they probably would. Undaunted, Cosmo and Ocean sprang into action. And unseen by the enemy, each reached a gloved hand into the pouch attached to their waist. Grabbing a fistful of pure ground-up Mucuna Purian seeds, they took aim at the eye holes in the 2 agents' masks. Precision was going to be vital. Whew. Fortunately, their aim was perfect. The 2 agents began writhing and crying out in pain as those powerful seeds landed in their eyes. The male agent's knife clattered to the floor. Cosmo darted forward quickly to grab it up. Ocean sprang forward to smear more of the ground-up seeds onto the woman's wrists. This agent cried out, and Ocean snatched up her weapon. Now Ocean and Cosmo fell back, leaving the coast clear for their comrades. Jasmine and Jacoby stood side by side. They had removed from their bags what looked like a coil of rope attached to an ordinary fishing net. But of course, there was nothing ordinary about this net. The 2 classmates nodded to each other and then swiftly launched their fiendish lassos. The coils of rope landed squarely on the agent's shoulders. Yes, right on target. Next, Jasmine and Jacoby made the crucial double tug on the lines, and Captain Quiver's catch of the day net slid smoothly down over the enemy agents' bodies, tightly binding their torsos, arms, and legs. Confused and thrown off balance, the agents looked exactly like unsuspecting fish that had been hauled out on the evening tide. Jasmine and Jacoby let go of the lines, delighted by their success. As they high-fived each other, Neo called out into the night, "Phase 2 of Operation Fishhook complete." "Roger that," replied Shay from their hiding place at the edge of the Academy Gardens. Now for phase three. Now, what is phase three? I think you'll have to read on if you'd like to find out.
Oh, you've got me really hooked there. That could almost be talk like a pirate, couldn't it? You've got me hooked. Um,
Totally.
we did say we'd have questions, and we do have time for a few questions. And I know people will be keen also to find out the winners to our competition.
Ah,
So I'm
yes.
going to start with the questions that were sent in advance, because that's a fair thing to do. And Rose here, Justin, has asked whether there are any famous pirates that inspired your stories, and she wants to know if Shi Yang was one of them.
Oh, that's a really, really good question. And the answer is yes. Um, there, when I was writing my other book series, Vampirates, I didn't know very much about pirates. And so I got myself this amazing encyclopedia, A Pirate's A to Z, which was incredibly useful to me. It's got stories of a lot of pirates in here, including Bartholomew Roberts, who was mentioned right at the start of the session. Now, you mentioned Shi Yang, or as I know her, Cheng Yi Sao, and I was particularly excited to find her because when I was researching pirates, I got a bit frustrated that I couldn't find amazing women pirates in history. Too often I was hearing about male pirates, and I wanted to know about these really, really strong women to write them into the story. But Shi Yang, or Cheng Yi Sao, is an amazingly talented Chinese pirate from the 18th century, as you probably know, Rose. And in some ways, she inspired one of my favorite characters, Cheng Li, who is one of the main characters in Vampires, but makes her debut in Pirate Academy Sword Echoes. So that's a nice kind of crossover within my universe. I've got many, many other famous pirates. Bartholomew, I've based a character on that name. And then obviously characters like Blackbeard, who had gunpowder in their ears. I'm always kind of trying to work in those gems of pirate history.
That was a great question, and obviously a knowledgeable question there as well. Um, Theodore wants to know which pirate books you read before writing your stories, and would you recommend any of them?
Okay, Theodore. Well, that's a great question too. What I would say is, what I decided to do was not to read any pirate stories or to watch pirate TV shows or pirate movies. As frustrating as that was at times, because basically I didn't want to be influenced by how other people had told the stories. So what I did instead was I turned to fact books. So I've already mentioned this encyclopedia, which if you want to know more about pirates, I would thoroughly recommend to you. There's another book that I have on my desk at most times called Lives of the Most Notorious Pirates by Charles Johnson. And you can see it's quite an old book. Now, there's a bit of a mystery about this book. Um, Charles Johnson is potentially the author Daniel Defoe, and potentially this is not a fact book, but a bit more of a cross between fact and fiction. But it's got some really interesting stuff about famous pirates in here, and also about kind of the world of piracy. And one of the ideas that I got from this old book, which has been really central to Pirate Academy and Vampirates, is the idea that pirate captains were given sea lanes. So in my books, the Pirate Federation is the organization that allocates sea lanes to captains, and they can sail across the ocean in their own sea lane and not risk attack. So I'm sorry, Theodore, I can't recommend any other brilliant pirate storybooks to you, but there are many other great pirate stories out there, I'm sure, but I just tend to try and not read them.
Okay, I think we've got time for one more question before we go to our competition. And this one is from Elijah, and he wants you to talk about how you decided to make the ships in the stories futuristic.
Well, Elijah, I don't know how much of Pirate Academy you've read, but what you're going to find is they're not that futuristic. Actually, they tend to go back to these glorious old galleons that are familiar to us from the golden age of piracy some centuries ago. Now, the idea behind that is, yes, we've gone forward 500 years, but the world hasn't perhaps gone in the direction that we're expecting or that we're hoping, and some technology has been lost. So instead of having, amazingly futuristic high tech vessels, we've gone back to these often wooden, amazing galleons from the past. From a writing point of view, the reason I did that was when I first started writing Vampires, my other series, I combined vampires and pirates in one story. And initially, there was quite a lot of technology. It was a bit like Blade Runner, if you've seen one of the Blade Runner movies. But I think it wasn't working. It felt like too much was going on, too rich a stew within that story. So I thought, let's get rid of the technology and let's go back to these beautiful old ships. And I actually prefer that. And I think that it gives both my book series a really lovely kind of classic piratical flavor, but with a twist.
Oh, Justin, I think it's coming up to competition time. Big drum roll. Now, can you just remind people what the competition was?
Well, as I've mentioned quite a few ship names, haven't I, during this session? And what we asked people to do was to think of an amazing pirate ship name that perhaps you, your family, your classmates might sail on. And we had some really, really lovely suggestions, didn't we?
Shall I just run through a few of them?
Yes,
We
lovely.
had the Emerald Layla. That sounds nice. We had the
Mm,
Jolly Baker. I think some of these make, because they were about family names, I don't know, but I think maybe this is a family name, the Jolly Baker. We
yeah.
had the Mighty Willow. I came up with one for myself. I thought with Gamble, I don't know if you've heard of the game Chuck Farthing. It's mentioned in Treasure Island. Ben Gunn
Okay.
says that they were playing Chuck Farthing with somebody's life. So that's a kind of gambling thing. So I was going to be the Chuck Farthing Corsair. Anyway, here's some more from the children. We've got the Sea Dragon, the Exile, uh, the Lost Cause, Jaws, the Mogul Ship. Justin, I sent some to you in advance. Do you have a winner for us?
I mean, I'm tempted to make it the Chuck Farthing Corsair, which I have written down for future use. But I'm afraid you've got to be excluded. So my winner is the Lost Cause, which I
Oh,
love.
brilliant.
Great, great name.
Fantastic name for a family ship, the Lost Cause. That's Elijah, by the way, who came up with that name. So well
Oh,
done.
well,
Well done, Elijah. Uh,
Elijah, that's a name. I might work that into one of the future Pirate Academy books, if that's okay. I love it.
oh, fantastic. And Elijah, you will be getting um, a set of Pirate Academy books and some pirate goodies. They're going to be on their way to you. We'll find out the address that those need to be sent to. Justin, I think you were going to finish with a game, weren't you?
Well, we're going to finish, if we may, with the Pirate Academy chant. Now, this is the chant that Captain Platonov and the students do when they're doing that morning run around the Academy Gardens. So, my plan is I am going to be Captain Platonov. I'm going to do a quick change of hat. I've gone from being a mere pirate to being a captain. And I'm going to shout out one line at a time. And all I need everyone to do is to chant it back to me. And then at the end, I'm going to ask 4 questions. The answer to the first 3 questions is we are. And the answer to the 4th and final question is we do. So I'm hoping everybody's got that. And here we go. Repeat the lines after me. Pirate captains rule the sea.
Pirate captains rule the sea.
A ship for you and one for me.
A ship for you and one for me.
My sword is ready to attack.
My sword is ready to attack.
No one's going to hold me back.
No one's gonna hold me back.
We hoist the skull and bones up high.
We hoist the skull and bones up high.
to let you know the end is nigh.
To let you know the end is nigh.
Don't tangle with my deadly crew.
Don't tangle with my deadly crew.
Nice accents. Or we'll make mincemeat out of you.
Or we'll make mincemeat out of you.
We're in command of the high seas.
What was that?
We're in command of the high seas.
We're in command of the high seas.
We're taking power by degrees.
We're taking power by degrees.
Going out to cause a commotion.
Going out to cause a commotion.
This is our time and this is our ocean.
This is our time and this is our ocean.
Excellent work. Now I'm going to ask those questions. Who's the baddest?
We are.
You are, well done. Who's the meanest?
We are.
Excellent. Who's the fiercest?
We are.
Okay, and then slightly different answer to this question. Who rules the oceans? We do.
We do. They've remembered.
Let's do that again. Who rules the oceans?
We do.
You absolutely do. Thank you so much for joining us on Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Fantastic, Justin. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the schools that came along. Thank you for entering the competition. Elijah will sort out your prize. And yes, thank you to the schools. And we hope to see you again soon, Justin.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, everybody.